Hey y'all, Rick Sky here. Welcome back to another Timepieces for Tomorrow video. And within this video, I want to talk about the specifications that every proper dive watch should have. Now on my wrist today, I've got the Rolex Submariner 114060, which is arguably one of the most iconic wristwatches in the world and definitely probably the most iconic dive watch. Some people may argue that the Blancpain 50 Fathoms is more iconic than the Rolex Submariner, but that's a topic for another discussion. Within this video, I just want to talk about what you need for a proper dive watch. So let's go ahead and dive right in here and get into this. So for starters, what you want to look at, and obviously the Submariner has it, a screw down crown. This right here screws down, which better ensures that water will probably not be introduced into the wristwatch. So you need a screw down crown. These right here, these are called crown guards. Some of your newer reference dive watches have those. That just may better prevent, like if you're jumping off side of a boat or something, and this hits, it may hit that, the crown guard, instead of hitting the crown, which may prevent the crown from becoming dislodged as a product of a hard impact. As far as water resistance is concerned, this right here, you can see the Submariner is 1,000 feet or 300 meters. This piece right here, this is a Panerai PAM 112. It's got a 300 meters water resistance. Worth mentioning, if you're looking at current reference Panerais, this one's been discontinued for quite a while. If you're looking at current reference Panerais, even though they may have the same aesthetic, you need to check that water resistance because there's a lot of current reference Panerais that only have 100 meters of water resistance. And that segues me into my next requirement. For your water resistance, on the low end, I wouldn't go below 200 meters. You can see right here, this is a Tudor Black Bay 58. This has a stated water resistance of 200 meters or 660 feet. And we were talking about crown guards earlier with the Submariner. You can see this has no crown guards. So if I was jumping off the side of a boat with this crown could potentially make impact with the side of the boat and it could potentially dislodge the crown. That's a value add of having the crown guards. But as far as aesthetics are concerned, a lot of people prefer the no crown guards look. They think it gives it a more vintage or a more old school style appearance, which is kind of a true statement. But again, it's a matter of what you're looking for. The bezel, you do want a dive bezel that's easy to manipulate with wet or dry hands. You can see this right here. This is a 60-click unidirectional bezel. On the Submariner, I've got a 120-click unidirectional bezel. And then right here, this is also a 300 meters, not 300 meters, 300 meters, 1,000 feet water resistant timepiece. It does have crown guards. Obviously, all of these have screw down crowns. You can hear that nice bezel action. A bezel that's easy to grip with wet or sweaty hands. That's important. But yeah, screw down crown is a must. Panerai, a little bit different. Their little crown system is different. See, it's got this little lever, and then if you want to adjust, there's no date on this. I like no date timepieces, but you just pop that out, and now you could adjust the time. Or if you pop it in, you can wind the timepiece. This is a manual wind. It's not automatic, so it doesn't recharge while you're wearing it on your wrist. And then you just push that down. So this is a different mechanism. You know, I said it's got to have a screw down crown. This is not a screw down crown. This is you've got this crown protector. And see, when you push that, it pushes it down, but it's not actually screwing down. Because see, if I pop this out, and then I pop that, now the crown's popped out. So even though it doesn't actually screw down, it's got the physical act of pushing the crown down and then pushing this piece down to better ensure that it probably won't open, while it's underwater. Again, nothing's guaranteed. But see, this mechanism more completely protects the piece. So, unlike crown guards where you've just got, the top and bottom of the crown protected, this on the Panerai PAM 112, it's protecting all the way here. Now, obviously, if something made impact from the top, it could grab that potentially, knock that down. But still, you'd have to have something to dislodge to pop the crown out. So that may actually be the best mechanism. What do you think? Would you prefer crown guards, or would you prefer something like the Panerai has? And that's a patented Panerai invention, so I don't think you're going to see that or anything even similar to that on other timepieces. If you're aware of a similar of a timepiece with a similar mechanism, you know, let me know, because I'm not aware of it. But yeah, so Panerai is unique from that perspective. But again, for a proper dive watch, you need at least 200 meters of water resistance. That's 660 feet. Preferably 300 meters or 1,000 feet. So, you know, looking at these pieces here, these three on the right, the Submariner, the PAM 112, Ulysses Nardin Maxi Marine Diver, those are all 300 meters water resistant, 1,000 feet water resistant. The Tudor is 200 meters, 660 feet. You know, there's nothing wrong with 200 meters. I would not go for a dive watch. I would not go with something with less than 200 meters stated water resistance. And then also, I would definitely, in most, it would be rare for a wristwatch to not have a screw down crown, but you want to make sure it's got a screw down crown. The exception being proper Panerai references. Again, some of the new references aren't, but a proper Panerai reference that has this Panerai crown mechanism. You know, that's not a screw down crown, but it's still a highly acceptable mechanism in my opinion. So that's kind of the one-off. People say, man, a dive watch has to have a screw down crown. Well, you can say, yes, that is a correct statement. I agree with you, but are you familiar with Panerai? And they may say, no, I'm not. What is Panerai? Well, you ought to check out you know, the crown guard that Panerai uses. And by the way, it's not a screw down crown. You know, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I learned something new. So, you know, that's an important, you know, these are not, what am I trying to say? These are not luxuries. It's not like, well, I wish that my watch had a screw down crown, or I wish it had over 200 meters of water resistance. If you get into the water, and that could be the ocean, it could be a swimming pool, it could be a bathtub. If you get into the water with a watch that doesn't have an appropriate water resistance rating, even if that crown is pushed down, it's probably not going to survive. It may, but you know, as a rule of thumb, if you want a proper dive watch, you want a screw down crown, or in the case of Panerai's own little crown doohickey, whatever you want to call it, you want something that's proper with 200 meters or preferably 300 meters of water resistance. If you got that, you're probably pretty safe with swimming with it. Now keep in mind, vintage pieces, older pieces, they may have lost their water resistance over time. So if you've got an older piece, it would be my personal recommendation to take it to the manufacturer and have them you know, do a tune-up, service it. You know, service a wristwatch, make sure that the water resistance is still good. Make sure there aren't any points of entry for water. You know, the case back, if somebody had unscrewed the case back and didn't properly screw it back on. There's so many things that could provide risk of water being introduced into a wristwatch case. And if water comes in, especially if it's salt water, it can be catastrophic for the movement inside because it can rust. So just a few things to be aware of. Obviously, if you're afraid of water, regardless of the water resistance rating on your dive watch, if you're afraid of water, it's probably best to keep that thing out of the water, because there's always a possibility. I mean, even the most recently serviced wristwatch, there's always the threat of water entering that timepiece. I mean, nothing is guaranteed. You know, none of these wristwatches that I showed you earlier, none of these are waterproof. They're highly water resistant, but they're not waterproof. And then there's always the possibility, well, what if you wind your watch to set the time and you failed to properly screw down the crown? It could leak. So, you know, nothing is guaranteed. Enjoy your watches, but if you're going to swim with a watch, if you're going to dive with a watch, make sure it's been serviced recently. Make sure it has the appropriate specifications to be able to hopefully survive that dive. Because the last thing you want to do is jump into the water with a fancy wristwatch and it not be capable of surviving that dive. So I hope this video helped. Be sure to subscribe, ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. And check out all my Timepieces for Tomorrow videos. Not just my videos, but my live shows. You can go to timepiecesfortomorrow.com. You can find all my previously recorded videos and live shows. And also, when I do live shows, I'll pop up a Skype link within the chat. And if you want to join Face on Video, it's a great way to join in and chat about wristwatches in real time. Appreciate your viewership, and check out the Timepieces for Tomorrow merch. You can find that link below. Sweatshirts, t-shirts, coffee mugs, pint glasses, and I've got a lot more stuff that I'm working on as well. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.